All right, this is a practice of a recording class. All the extra noise is the noise that I hear every single day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're factoring trinomials. Okay, so what happens if they're not two terms? Okay, so really at the top of your paper, you should write what it says factoring trinomials is when there are three terms. So right at the very top, when there are three terms. So what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at the equation when it says x squared plus bx plus c. So there's 1, 2, 3 terms. And we're looking at the last operation first. So we have to this is called a flow chart. And it's going to help you make decisions based upon what questions. So it's like having me sit on your shoulder telling you what questions to ask yourself. So the very first question you need to ask yourself is, what is this last operation? Is it plus or minus? And I want you to put an arrow this direction, and I want you to put plus. So if my last operation is plus, we're going to fill out that left-hand side of the flowchart. So if it's plus, these are the things that we know. We know we're going to end up factoring it into two sets of parentheses. So you're going to put two sets of parentheses. So it's going to be like this, and you're going to put lots of room. So we know it's going to factor into that. What we're basically doing today is defoiling. Okay, remember I told you about the Friends activity where Phoebe was trying to figure out what the recipe her grandmother had for that chocolate chip cookie, and so not our Phoebe, but Phoebe off of Friends, and Monica could bite it and then tell what kind of ingredients were going to go into it. So we have our final answer, and we're asking what things multiply to that. So what we know is if my last operation is plus, we know that the signs are the same inside the parentheses. The signs are the same. Because in order to get a plus, they either both have to be negative or they both have to be positive. So the signs have to be the same. I promise this will make sense by the time we're done. Okay, signs are the same. And then the signs will be whatever the first operation is. Okay, I promise this will make sense when we're all the way through. Okay, now we're down to the last rectangle. In that last rectangle, you should put this. This is what you should be thinking. You should be thinking factors of the last term. I should say term. Factors of the last term that add to the middle term. Okay. Factors of the last term that add up to the middle term. So let's do some examples. So right below your chart are room for some examples. So the first one, this is my favorite equation, I don't know why, but it is. Okay. So here are some of the things that we're going to be noticing. First of all, I have three terms, so it's not a difference of squares like the easy peasy homework from yesterday. Right? That was awesome. But what I am going to look at is what is my first question is, what is that last operation? Because it's plus, I know I'm going to factor it like this. Two sets of parentheses. I know my signs are going to be the same, and they're going to be whatever this first operation is. So because this first operation is plus, we know they're the same, and they're both going to be plus. So I can put plus and plus. So just like in foiling, we know that these first terms have to multiply to be x squared. So the only things times each other that is x squared is x and x. So we're going to put those in. My last two depend upon this last term right here. So in my head, because we're going to ask this question, what are factors of 10 that add up to 7? So before we say the answer, which is true, I'm going to think about what are factors of 10. 1 and 10, and 2 and 5. Those are my choices. 1 and 10, 2 and 5. Be like me saying, I need to name a Frizzell girl who's in Algebra 1. Well, there's actually there's 4 Frizzell girls that we could choose from. Margot, Katie, Kensley, and Kyla. But there's only one of them names that will work for my question, even though those are 4 possible Frizzell girls. Right? So it's only Kensley that's going to work. Which set, even though there's more than one set, which set adds up to 7? 5 and 2. So I'm going to put 5 and 2 here. So that's one way that you can find out that factors of 10 that add up to 7. So if I give you another equation, if I gave you x squared minus 11x plus 24. So the very first thing that I notice is the fact that my last operation is plus. Because my last operation is plus, I have to follow all those rules. 2 sets of parentheses. My signs are going to be the same, but they're going to be whatever this first operation is. So Hayden, what's that first operation? Minus. So they're both going to be minus. We know factors of x squared, which are x and x, are going to go there. Now the question I need to ask myself are, what are factors of my last term? So I'm going to say, what are factors of 24 that add up to 11? So I'm going to think about all the factors. So if you have to, write them down. 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So there's a bunch of them, but which one adds up to 11?
3 and 8.
3 and 8. So 3 and 8. Now here's the question I know someone's going to ask. Could I put 8 and 3? Yes, because multiplication is commutative. Doesn't matter about which parenthesis comes first, as long as the stuff inside the parentheses stays the same. So that's the plus side. Okay? So now we're going to go back and fill out the right side because we have another choice. Okay? So what is my last operation? If my last operation is subtraction, here are all the choices that we're going to have to make, and they're going to look somewhat the same. Put 2 sets of parentheses. This time, in order to multiply and get a negative, my signs are going to be different. So 1 plus, 1 minus. Now, I can't guarantee the plus is always going to be first and the minus is going to be second, or vice versa. That doesn't really matter. What matters is what stuff they're with. But the sign of the larger number, and that's kind of in quotes because it's not really larger, but whichever the bigger number, not the value, sign of the larger number will be the same as the first operation. Okay. So signs are going to be different, and it's going to be whatever the operation of the larger number is going to be whatever the first operation is. Okay. Last box. This time we're going to be thinking, what are factors of the last term that subtract to the middle? So let's look at an example. Someday you're going to have software that you could do this online and take notes just like this. Someday. X squared plus 3x minus 10. You notice I'm using some of the same numbers. Okay? So I see 3 terms, 2 sets of parentheses. I see that this is minus, so one's plus, one's minus. I'm not going to put those down yet. I could put plus and minus down, but I'm not going to do that yet. I want factors of 10 that subtract to 3. We already talked about factors of 10, 1 and 10, and 2 and 5. I want the set that subtract to 3. My top ones subtract to 9, right? 10 minus 1 is 9. My bottom one's 5 minus 2 is 3. So I'm going to put 5 and 2, x and x. Now I need to make one plus and one minus because this is negative. In order to get a negative, one has to be plus, one minus. This tells me what the larger one has to be. My larger one's going to be positive. So which one's bigger, the 5 or the 2? 5. So this is plus and this is minus. Could I have written x minus 2 times x plus 5? I can. The order of the parentheses doesn't matter. What matters is the 5 has to be positive and the 2 has to be negative. What if I gave you x squared minus 23x plus 24? I want to factor that one. Oh, I lied. That was not factorable. It should be minus 24 for what we're doing right now. So what are factors of 24? The question I've asked, what are factors of 24 that subtract to 23? So, yep, 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So which set subtracts to be 23? So 2 sets of parentheses, 1 and 24, x and x. And we want the larger, careful, we want the larger one to be whatever this first operation is. 24 is bigger. Because this makes it be a negative 24 when we FOIL it, I get first 2. Outside 2 is negative 24x, inside 2 is a positive x, and last 2 is negative 24. And we want the larger one to determine the sign. Okay? So that's going to be negative.
So even if it's a negative, if it's bigger, how does that work? If it's a bigger number?
So we're not looking at the value of the number, we're looking at just the number
It goes
itself.
up on the number chart?
Yeah, we're not going to plot this on a number line. We're just comparing 24 and 1, not the plus or minus part of it. Okay.